All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are cracking open the black box that is your finances. We're going to get into the basic rules of money, the ones they somehow forgot to teach us in school, the rules that are secretly shaping pretty much every decision you make. You ready to see what's really going on behind the curtain? Let's do this.
You know this feeling. We've all been there. You work hard all month. You see that beautiful "you've been paid" email pop up. You rush to your banking app, open it up, and hold on a second. Wait, what? The numbers, they just don't add up. It's that universal moment of confusion, and let's be real, it's pretty frustrating.
So let's just imagine this is what you earned. A nice, round $2,000. That feels good, right? A solid number for a month of hard work? This is the before picture, the glorious starting point.
And this is the after picture. This is what actually hits your bank account. Boof. Over $500 has just vanished, gone. So the big question is, where did it go? And why does this happen every single time? That's exactly what we're about to figure out.
Okay, for Act 1, we're going to investigate your paycheck's disappearing act. We need to look at the invisible hands that are grabbing a piece of your money before you even get a chance to say hello to it.
The first, and let's be honest, the biggest culprit here, taxes. And look, I get it. It feels like you're just handing over your hard-earned cash for nothing. But the whole idea is that taxes are what we all chip in to live in a society that, actually works. It's literally the price of civilization.
So where does all that money actually go? Well, it funds stuff we use every single day, maybe without even thinking about it. Things like roads, so we're not driving through potholes the size of craters, schools for education, and public safety, police, firefighters. A big chunk also gets funneled into Social Security. Think of it as forced retirement savings, and Medicare, which is all about health insurance for seniors. All right, so you've paid your taxes. You take what's left and you put it in the bank. Now, most of us have this picture in our heads of our money sitting in a giant, super secure vault, maybe even guarded by a dragon. But that's not really how it works at all. A bank is actually more like a financial matchmaker. The second your money hits your account, the bank is already trying to set it up on a date with someone else.
Yeah, this whole system has a name. It's called fractional reserve banking, and it's kind of wild how it works. Let's say you deposit $1,000. The bank is legally required to keep only a tiny piece of that, like maybe $100 just in case. They then take the other $900 and lend it out to someone else, and they charge that person a higher interest rate than they pay you for keeping your money there. That gap, that little difference in interest, that's pure profit for the bank. They're literally making money with your money.
So let's move on to Act 2. Now that we know where the money goes initially, we're going to look at the invisible rules of the financial game. These are the forces of interest and inflation, and they are always working in the background, shaping your financial life, whether you realize it or not.
Let's talk about interest. This one is incredible because it's like a superpower that can either work for you or, and this is a big or, against you. When you owe money, interest is your absolute worst enemy. It's this slow burn that can turn a tiny debt into a raging financial fire. But when you're earning it, then interest becomes your best employee. It works 24/7, never takes a vacation, and its only job is to make you more money.
And here is the terrifying power of compounding interest when it's working against you. You swipe your credit card for lunch, maybe you miss a payment, and suddenly, you're not just paying interest on the money you borrowed. No, you're paying interest on the interest. That is exactly how a simple $12 burrito can morph into a $50 long-term regret. It's brutal.
The other invisible force working against you is inflation. It's sneaky. Inflation is the reason why that bag of chips you love seems to be mostly air these days and costs way more than it did a year ago. Your $5 bill is, of course, still a $5 bill, but what it can actually buy, its purchasing power, is slowly, silently being chipped away. So what's causing this? What's driving it? Well, it's usually a cocktail of a few things. Sometimes you've got really high demand. That's when everyone has money and wants to buy stuff, which pushes prices up. Other times, you've got supply issues. It's harder or more expensive to actually make things and get them to the store. And then there's this weird psychological factor, our own expectations. If we all believe prices are going to go up, we all rush to buy things now, which, you guessed it, causes prices to go up. It's a classic self-fulfilling prophecy.
Okay, so after all that, it can definitely feel like the whole game is rigged against you. But here's the good news. Once you understand the rules, you can start using those rules to your advantage. And in our final act, that's exactly what we're going to talk about, how to rig the game back in your favor.
First up is this number range. This is your credit score. Now, this isn't a measure of how rich you are. Think of it more like a trust score. It's a 3-digit number that lenders use to quickly decide, is this person a good bet? A high score unlocks the good stuff, lower interest rates, better loan terms. A low score, well, it makes pretty much everything in your financial life more difficult and more expensive.
So how do they even come up with this number? Well, there's a whole formula, but it really boils down to two things that are massively important. First, your payment history. Do you pay your bills on time? Simple. Second, your credit utilization. That's just the percentage of your available credit that you're actually using. Honestly, if you can just nail those two things, pay on time and don't max out your cards, you are well on your way to winning this part of the game.
Okay, so how do you fight back against that silent thief? Inflation. Your single best weapon, by far, is investing. This is where you make the crucial shift from just trading your time for money to making your money start working for you. By owning assets like stocks, which are just tiny slices of a company, or bonds, which are basically just loans you give out, you give your money a fighting chance to grow faster than inflation can eat it away.
Look, is there risk to investing? Yes, of course there is. Markets go up and markets go down. But the risk of doing nothing, that risk is almost guaranteed. The real danger isn't losing some money in the short term, it's leaving your savings sitting there, doing nothing, and just watching inflation quietly and relentlessly steal your future. So the real question isn't whether you can afford to invest, it's, can you really afford not to?